Well, it's not every evening that Ram Jethmalani and Subramnian Swamy are on the opposite sides, but they are tonight, and Aryama Sundaram joins them. Mr. Jethmalani, you are related at this judgment, but consider this. 3 petitioners accused of playing a part in the assassination of our former Prime Minister. They are associated with a terrorist group, the LTT. The group recruits child soldiers. They use civilians as human shields. They kill civilians using suicide attacks. Now, whatever your legal argument may be, isn't it also apparent to you, Mr. Jethmalani, that your legal argument lacks a logical basis? If you look at, the larger issues involved which go beyond legal technicalities, Mr. Jethmalani.
I'm sorry, Arnab, that as usual, I disagree with you on some very important subjects. And that, of course, doesn't affect our friendship and affection. But please understand what the basis of the judgment is. The basis of the judgment is a decision delivered nearly 20 years ago by one of the greatest judges who has sat on the Supreme Court bench, Mr. Justice Chinnappa Reddy. And he delivered a judgment in which he ruled that if the whole judicial process, including the final appeal in the Supreme Court, is not disposed of within 2 years of the date of the offence, then there should be no death sentence awarded.
But why was it not disposed of? Why don't you ask that question? Why was it not disposed of? You were Law Minister of India.
I must tell you,
during the NDA government. Why was it not disposed of then?
For God's sake.
Purely political reasons, Mr.
Judgment. Please understand the reasoning of the judgment, and please let me tell you that Chinnappa's judgment in the Indian Supreme Court has been accepted as good law by Privy Council judgments in 2 cases drawn not from India but from other countries in the Commonwealth. The Privy Council has appreciated Chinnappa Reddy's judgment, and the reasoning of the judgment is that if the sentence of death is to be given for the rarest of rare cases, and the normal sentence of murder is a sentence of life imprisonment, then all serious circumstances associated with the crime mean sentence of death at the time of the disposal of the judicial process.
Mr. Jethmalani, all that is...
Please understand now what I am telling you, because I have not told you unless you try and understand what the judgment is about. You are not, please understand something. There are certain, I know that you are all knowing almost, but there are certain things which you don't know, which you should know. The argument is very simple, that every day that you keep a person who has been sentenced to death, suffering that agony, that itself is extra punishment than the sentence of death awarded to him. And if you keep a man in that state of anxiety and almost tyrannical,
sir, these are all politically sensitive cases.
For 16 years.
Only for politics.
And I'm sorry to tell you that the facts are wrong.
Only for politics.
The facts are that 16 years they have kept these people's mercy petitions pending.
Yes, but why was it kept pending? Why are these not all cases which are
It was kept pending because you have a dishonest executive. They don't know their job. They are either incompetent or dishonest.
No, they are not dishonest. They are using these cases for political capital. You are someone who are not in favor of the death penalty.
That makes it dishonest.
This is purely...
Why don't you call it dishonest?
So then I may argue with you, Mr. Jethmalani, with great respect.
Anyway, I know that basically you and I always agree.
Mr. Jethmalani, you are a wizard of the law and I am not. I, however, can completely disagree with you, not on legal issues, on basic fact. I don't understand why a person of the eminence of Ram Jethmalani, tonight Subramnian Swamy, let me draw into the debate. I don't understand why a person of the legal wizardry, eminence and erudition of Ram Jethmalani pretends to be blind to the fact that these are all cases which are politicized. You have Karunanidhi asking for the release of these convicts of the Supreme Court verdict. In the Devinder Pal Bhullar case and the Balwant Singh Rajwana in Punjab, the Shiromani Akali Dal politicized those cases. Subramanian Swamy now. Now, one minute. Subramanian Swamy will respond. He feels what happened today is wrong, Mr. Jethmalani. Let him respond to you. Mr. Swamy.
First of all, Mr. Jethmalani has quoted what is essentially an outdated judgment.
Okay.
Because there are subsequent judgments. There are subsequent judgments like the Swami Shraddhanand case and several others, where they made it very clear that there is no hard and fast rule for the number of years.
Yes.
That has to be taken into account, and the 2 years was rejected in the subsequent judgments. So I don't want to go too much into this technicality or whether it's 2 years or several years. But generally speaking, the core of the judgments subsequently say that if there has been delay caused by the government, then that's a factor. Now, for 5 years, Mr. Jethmalani himself was law minister and a minister in the Indian government, and he failed to do anything at that time.
He didn't do anything.
He had sympathy with them, I don't know. But the fact is that the present Prime Minister several times said that we have zero tolerance for terrorism. Now, these people, to say that there's agony, they are hard-boiled criminals. They are hard-boiled killers. And in the Supreme Court, they celebrated. They said we wanted to teach Rajiv Gandhi a lesson for sending IPKF to Sri Lanka. So how can you, in fact, they got extra 16 years for nothing. And those who are responsible for the delay, we can take them separately. But there cannot be any sympathy for these three killers for doing that. Now, the problem has been compounded for the Congress and the Attorney General of India, who has been arguing with one hand tied behind his back, because Ms. Sonia Gandhi has written a letter to the President that these people should not be hanged. Now, people should ask her a question. Why did you write this letter? And that nobody has so far done it. Now, that's the one that has tied the Congress party hand and foot.
No, that would not influence the court, Subramanian Swamy. Be careful of what you say. That would not influence the court.
Please don't. Now, please let me tell you, the courts will go by the arguments adduced. I can tell you the Attorney General argued in a in a way which any court would have come to the conclusion that he is in favor of amnesty.
Aryaman Sundaram, do you think Ram Jethmalani should explain why he took no action with the time that he was law minister in the Vajpayee cabinet? Before he argues that why was there a delay, should he explain why he was part of the delay?
Arnab, for anybody to take on Ram and ask him a question like that calls for a lot of bravery. Since I am quite at a distance from him, let me say, I think he, in his political hat, like every other politician wearing that political hat, and everybody concerned with dealing with mercy petitions and delaying it, are causing an affront on the fundamental right of the person who requires a quick decision on it and who's suffering from the threat of death day to day. They owe it to him, they owe it to the country which is waiting to, when a person has been convicted, to see the sentence implemented. They owe it to the rule of law, and they owe it to the courts. Now, whether we like it or not, in the past 15 years, there's been a habit that every mercy petition, you're talking about these terrorist issues, I'm talking about rapists, I'm talking about murderers. But every single mercy petition is slept on for 10 years.
But why?
Now, why is it
why?
slept
Because
on?
of politics.
Why? Exactly. Is it because the government doesn't want to be left with the last say? They'd rather blame the man's life or death on the court and say the court killed him. I don't want to have any role in the death of a person. But the fact is, today's judgment is nothing but a necessary consequence which had to follow because of the law laid down by the Supreme Court in their judgment of about 6 weeks ago.
No, Mr. Sundaram, I worry.
Judgment has led to today.
No, I worry. I really worry that it sets a dangerous precedent. And first of all, I think
the judgment is not a dangerous precedent.
Of course, it sets a dangerous precedent.
Arnab, let me just say this. Since
it sets a very dangerous precedent.
Let me make my position very clear. I think the judgment is a great precedent. The judgment lays down what the law is, it respects the fundamental rights, it respects rule of law, it respects the constitution. The judgment is a great precedent. What is the bad precedent is the way the government deals in a lackadaisical manner with a mercy petition, where a man's life, it's a question of a man's life or death. It is there for 10 years, they don't even bother to look at it. They wait 8 months,
but
in one case 2 years,
they will
to get
do
a
it
translation
again.
Of the judgment.
But they will do it again. They will, unfortunately,
in which case the
the politicians in our country.
The consequence will be that the man will go free.
Yeah,
not
of course.
Go free, but will
of course. And
life imprisonment.
Yes,
here,
Mr. Swamy.
May I add here, when it came to Dhananjay Chatterjee, there was a big delay, but it was over. It was not considered at all, and he was hanged. And all that he asked
was a wrong judgment. That was a wrong judgment, and it was a wrong judgment.
I am saying that this delay was due to the fact that Ms. Sonia Gandhi wrote a letter to the president.
You have that letter? You have the letter? It's a figment of your imagination.
I know. Let them deny it and I'll produce the letter. We have
No, where is the letter? You have the letter. What do you mean you will produce the letter?
No.
You are telling me that...
Naturally, I can't betray confidence unless someone denies such a letter.
Whose confidence? Who gave you the letter? Where's the letter? Show me the letter.
Whoever gave me the letter gave it to me on the condition that I would not release it.
And you will not release it. So you hold back the truth.
I will only release it if it is denied.
Well, okay. Now, Mr. Jethmalani, I think there's some serious questions which have been raised here by these two gentlemen, and you must answer. There are basically two questions.
No,
Mr. Jethmalani.
I'm quite ready to answer all the questions.
No, you
but
first
just
answer.
Hold on for a while.
First of
all, the law minister does not deal with these problems. These problems go to the home minister. And I don't believe that this matter ever came up either before the law ministry or even the home ministry.
You're telling me you were not aware of it when you were law minister? Of all the law ministers in the country, you were not aware of it?
I was not aware at all.
Oh, I can't believe it.
I was not. I deal with matters and giving legal opinions on disputed questions of law and fact which come to me, which are referred to me.
No, Mr. Jethmalani.
The law minister has nothing to do with this. It is the home minister who does it.
Subramnian Swamy, you accept that? You accept that? He puts the blame on Mr. L.K. Advani.
No, that is a collective responsibility. Therefore, when it went to
collective
Varnala,
okay.
it was a cabinet decision.
All right, I failed in my collective responsibility. If it helps my friend Swamy to make any argument, please. Okay.
No, the second question is
you have accepted.
Good. Second question is that of precedent, and I think we must spend some time on it. Now Mr. Jethmalani. No, Mr. Jethmalani, let me please articulate my question. I rarely get the opportunity to ask you questions on Newshour. So when I'm getting the opportunity and I have you sandwiched between Subramnian Swamy and Aryama Sundaram, let me use the opportunity to the maximum.
I don't feel sandwiched between Subramnian Swamy and anybody else. Please understand that. So Subramnian Swamy, I understand what he is saying, and I'm appreciative of all that he says.
No.
But he has not appreciated one argument, that the sentence of death is fixed for the rarest of rare cases of the highest gravity. Otherwise, the sentence is life imprisonment.
Sir, there are two questions.
Don't therefore, in dealing with mercy petitions, deal with the facts of the case at all. The death sentence is justified only for the rarest of rare cases. Now you are inflicting
this is not rarest of rare.
Death plus
the assassination of a Prime Minister of India is not rarest of rare?
Which is inconsistent with Article 21 of the Constitution, because it is additional punishment not justified by the law.
What additional?
Please read what Justice Qadri said when he gave the death sentence. He says, I have considered it all and I have come to the conclusion the rarest of rare cases.
But all right, so that's all right. Now that for that the death sentence was justified. But after that, it is death plus the torture of a delayed petition.
The torture inflicted by your government,
which is not
the torture inflicted by your government and other governments for political reasons.
Inflicted by an incompetent executive.
What about those
16 years.
What about those 18 policemen who died?